All right, welcome to Thursday, October 21st. My special instructions for today are that I want you to share your big science project with two classmates. I want you to set the sharing to view so they can't mess anything up. And then I want you to take some time to go over the other student's project, whoever shared with you, the other two students. Don't be rude with your comments. Be constructive and as helpful as you can be. If you think something needs to be adjusted, but you're not sure, communicate it that way. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I may not be right here, but I think that you need to, say it like this or say it like that. So let me show you how you can set up the sharing so that they can view and they can comment. Actually, I don't know if it's probably not set. Maybe I need to change this from view to comment, because here's how it looks. You click on, I'm going to click on that, but you go find your actual project. And then let's say I want to share this with Mr. Stuckey. So I'll put Stuckey, Stephen Stuckey. Okay. And then I'll share it with somebody else. I don't know, another teacher. But over here on the right, you say commenter. That way they can't delete, I don't know if somebody might accidentally or on purpose delete stuff. So if I make him a commenter, hit send, it'll notify him, and then he'll be able to make, comments. So, and then I guess you'd do it over here. Yeah. Comment history. This is where you would access it. And if you're the commenter, you can click add comment here. And that way, what I want you to do, now let me give you some insight into how I'm going to grade this so you can help your fellow classmates get all the points possible. It shouldn't be left IND versus DEP. If it's angle versus distance, that should be changed. It would be nice if you changed this link to take me to the sim that you used. All you'd need to do is click edit link and paste the link to it here. That shouldn't be hard. Change independent to angle. I'm pretending angle versus distance is what I'm doing, just, as an example. Whatever your independent variable is goes there. So this should match that right there, should match this, should match that. Just replace everywhere you see independent with whatever your independent variable is, and all the dependents should be swapped as well. For your procedure, I don't need it to be too long, but I do want you to explain, as thoroughly as possible, without too many sentences, how you're doing this. I really do mean I don't want this to be too long, like 3, maybe 4 or 5 sentences at the most. I really think you ought to be able to explain it quickly. If you make this too long, it pushes everything onto a second page anyways. Well, I guess it'll be pushed onto a second page when you put your graph here, but I just don't want it to be pages and pages. And then your materials, just list things. I'm not going to nitpick too much. If you're missing 1 or 2 things, it's probably not a big deal. I mean, hopefully you're not missing more than 1 thing. Hopefully you're not overlooking anything too drastically. But put your graph here. Make sure in your data table you don't accidentally mix letters and numbers. Like if you put M in there, if you put 15M for 15 meters, it's better to just write 15. Your graph might go crazy and give you a straight line when it shouldn't be a straight line. Not that straight lines are bad. Sometimes it just turns out that way. All right, so here I want if I increase or decrease. You say one way or the other, because that's what you're doing. You're gradually increasing your independent variable, or you're gradually decreases it. And I just said of the blah, 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 because, let's say if you increase the angle of the cannon, so that you might not need this part of the statement. It all depends on what you're doing and how you word it. Then so if it's angle, if I increase the angle of the cannon, then the cannonball or the distance will increase or decrease. Make up your mind one way or the other. And then because, just briefly explain your reasoning for thinking that that's going to be the case. Independent, dependent, pretty simple there. Constants, just 2 or 3 things that you're, hopefully they're things that you feel like are really critical, like the most influential things in your experiment. Constants are things that you're going to keep the same. Like, I don't know, if I'm doing a cannon and a cannonball, I guess I would want to make sure that I put the same amount of gunpowder, whatever, cannon powder, whatever they put in cannons. I'd want to make sure I measure that and keep it constant for every trial, because if I allow more or less gunpowder, per trial, then that could have a serious influence on how far the cannonball goes. Also, I might want to, who knows, maybe the inside chamber of the cannon, if the temperature is not always the same for every trial, then that's a big problem. So after every shot, I might want to let it cool back down to the regular normal temperature, which could take a while, actually. Or maybe I want to fire it once just to warm up the inside of the cannon, and then from then on, just always keep firing before it cools down. That way it's always warm. However you want to explain it. Don't explain too much. Just give me, single sentences, 2 or 3 is good. Conclusion, you just want to say it like this. You want to say it either supported or didn't support my hypothesis. And then you just repeat what your hypothesis was, but just in a normal sentence. Sources of error, you just say the things that did get into the experiment. Like maybe you'd say you didn't have a way to check the internal temperature of the cannon, because that might be difficult. How do you measure the warmness, the temperature of the metal? And I don't know. Maybe you say that you tried your best to make sure it was always the same, but that it probably fluctuated a certain amount, and that could have had some influence. So, just use your imagination to explain the things that could have influenced it, like what I mentioned here. There could have been a small breeze. It's kind of hard to control the wind. There's also pockets of air. You have to use your imagination. There's got to be pockets of air that are warmer and cooler than others. There's probably convection currents in the air that we don't really see because we can't see them moving, but they're there. So stuff like that, and get that all done, and I think you'll have a perfect experiment to turn in. Okay, and have 2 peers review it, and then once they review yours, consider the comments. You don't have to agree with the comments. The comments are just there to help you, and if you don't believe them, if you don't think they're right, then just ignore them. But at least this gives you a chance to possibly notice something you might have overlooked before. All right. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.